Grilled chicken is one of my all-time favorite things to cook on a charcoal barbecue. The first time I had it, I was blown away at how tender, juicy, and crispy the skin was on charcoal that I've never experienced before on a propane grill. Today, I am off to meet Jenny, who's a busy mom, and I can fully appreciate some of the challenges that she shared with me getting great barbecue results at home. Between diaper changes and a busy work schedule, I'm gonna help Jenny make amazing, delicious chicken any day of the week. Welcome to Backyard BBQ Rescue. I'm James from Smokin' Dad Barbecue, and I am passionate about live fire cooking and helping others discover the joy of amazing barbecue at home. I am traveling to the backyards of people in need of help to master the art of live fire cooking. With the right tools and techniques, you can create smokehouse quality meals right in your backyard. Let's fire it up. Hey, I'm James.
Hi, James. I'm Jenny.
I see you have your hands full.
Yeah, and it's really annoying that I have this barbecue to work with. I have a lot of frustrations with the Kamado. You gotta get all the ash out, build the fire, light the fire, make sure it's getting hot, and then I gotta manage the fire, come out and check the temperature all the time and move things around, and my husband loves it. He's spent more than the cost of the barbecue on Kamado Joe accessories.
Exactly.
Right. I don't really know how to use it. It makes me smelly, all sorts of things. I wish I just had a gas barbecue. I've had difficulty in the past, like getting the temperature down when it gets too hot. I've made a chicken on there before and it came out dry such that my 3-year-old was like, this isn't good, I'm not eating it. The money spent on the food, it's the time, and now my kids are hangry. So that's actually the worst part of all.
Well, I've cooked for a lot of families, so I've learned anything from my own too. Our kids are our toughest critics, so maybe we'll see if we can surprise them. If I could make chicken midweek easy, that's a success for a midweek cook?
That would be great.
Awesome. Have you ever had Alabama chicken before?
No, I haven't.
Here's my Alabama white sauce. It's sweet, tangy, with a little bit of heat.
James, I thought you were gonna save me time. This does not look like something I'm gonna do on a Tuesday.
You'll see it's gonna go together in about a minute. Once we're done, we're not gonna use all this today. This will stay in the refrigerator for up to a month. Does that work?
Okay, fair enough.
How are you with heat?
Like medium salsa is a little hot for me, and I've got 2 young kids.
So that's one of the great things about Alabama white sauce is we can completely dial up or dial down our heat levels. Let's get into it. Adding our mayonnaise. Next, our brown mustard, brown sugar, apple cider vinegar. This is what's gonna cut and give us some of that tang. Same thing with our lemon juice, our horseradish. In our house, I would go for a couple heaping scoops, a dash of cayenne pepper. We'll get some fresh cracked black pepper, some salt. So give that the Alabama shake.
The Alabama sauce was easy to throw together. I'll now have it to use for the next few weeks because I still have half a jar left.
It's gonna be great. Here you go.
Perfect.
And here's my wing dust recipe. It's savory and perfect for chicken. So we're gonna use pepper cannon. I'm excited, this is yours when we're done.
Thank
Today,
you.
this will be yours, but it's gonna do a couple things. One, not only are we able to adjust the coarseness of our pepper, so if we want something big, bold flavor, we might go for more of a coarse grain. And if we want sort of a little bit more subtle, we'll go with sort of a finer mesh. And I'm gonna use the removable base here to measure out everything. This is 2 tablespoons. Believe it or not, this is 10 times faster.
No, I believe it.
I set it for a little bit finer, so we get a few extra clicks.
I like that it measures it, so you don't need to use another measuring spoon for cleanup.
I gave you enough dishes already.
Yeah, exactly.
There's our 2 tablespoons. Add that in. Next, I'm gonna go with salt. So I like, as a good base, a 50-50 salt and pepper ratio, so that's exactly what we're gonna go with here. We're gonna add a full 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, a single tablespoon of onion powder, a tablespoon of paprika. Close our lid so we don't make a mess of everything. Give it that quick little shake, and we are ready to season up our chicken. Kamado Joe was kind enough to send us their stainless steel cooking grate. We're gonna prep our carrots, toss them on there, and get it directly on the grill with no extra mess. All I'm gonna do is just add a little bit of olive oil and salt and pepper. Perfect, I'll get this ready to go on the grill. It's time to prep our chicken. We're gonna go for a spatchcock chicken today. A couple reasons. One, it cooks quicker. It's also gonna cook incredibly evenly. The way that I like to spatchcock the birds is not only remove the spine, but also we're going to take out the rib cage. You'll be able to carve all the way up the chicken and get nice, consistent slices. prepping our chicken the day in advance would not only be easier when kids are in bed, we also get the benefit of the dry brine. And I would say it's a 3%, 5% difference. So if you don't have the time to do this a day in advance, by no means, you know, just do it when you can.
Sometimes I feel like I'm a little scared to embark on a barbecue thing if I haven't planned well enough in advance. He made it apparent that you can do it the day of, but you also have the option to do it the day before to gain some efficiency in the day of.
I'm gonna trace along the keel bone like so. On the back side is our skin, and so we don't want to cut all the way through. It'll get easier and easier and easier to the point where we're able to pull that right out. The next thing I'm gonna do is to give myself a mark is break the breastbone. So push, and that separated one side and further opened up the keel bone, but that is releasing the keel bone right from flesh. So I'll do the same thing on the other side. I think we're ready. So with a pull, keel bone is out. The next thing I'm gonna work on is just taking out the rib cage. So we'll do that by, again, going underneath the silver skin here. Let the knife do the work, just tracing along the bones. We're done. And so what that work has afforded us is the option of now getting seasoning on the bottom of the breast meat. I always like to season the inside first and then do the presentation side last so that it looks nice and pretty on the grill. Flip.
Can you over-season this?
If we put too much on, it gets cakey, chalky, and then it'll actually break and fall off when we're cooking, and there'll be no rub on that spot. You ready to fire it up?
Yeah.
Let's do it. We're going to actually replace this part, set it aside. And I've got something I think you're really going to appreciate, which is an ash can. So we drop this in place, it's gonna collect all those ash, everything that falls down. Another thing that will make that easier is having a charcoal ash basket. So I'll just drop this down into place. And when we're done our cook with one step, we can take that out, shake the ash, everything will fall into our can, clean, reset, and you're ready to go next time. These are called white ashed over coals, which is short for ready to cook. I've just placed a heat deflector on one side, and the game plan here is to place our chicken on the back half. The other grid will fit here in the front. So let's close this up, start to build some heat in our dome, and open our vent so that we can start to bring our grill up to temperature.
What if it gets too hot? Like, I've had that happen before. This is when the chicken was too dry. My 3-year-old denied it.
I would throw some fresh coal on. I would close the dome, and I would go way more aggressive than what we want. So this is just barely open. And so between the cool deflector stones, the extra charcoal, and the tight vents, in a matter of minutes, we can bring a runaway train back to cooking temperatures. So next, I'm gonna install the meter probe. So this is gonna come in super handy. Knowing what's going on with your grill and balancing everything inside the house can be tricky. So this is gonna give all the information and beam it wirelessly to your phone. There is a line right here. We want to make sure that we go past that. Also is a good time now to complete the puzzle piece here where we install our stainless steel grid. I want some direct heat on our carrots, which is why we've got a deflector in behind. I've also laid them this way with the thick end towards the fire where it's the hottest. They'll handle that a little bit better than if we went the other way around. Grab our bird, drop it in like so. Make it look nice and pretty. We're ready to get cooking. Now that we've got our chicken on the grill, we're gonna let that sit for about an hour or until the meter alerts us that it's time to get it off and let it rest. We'll be cooking at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Our chicken has been on for an hour. The meter has been keeping track of everything. I'm just gonna do a quick spot check on the other side. We are about 1 degree away. Oh, it's getting hot. So we can add a little bit of our Alabama white sauce right now. Grab our carrots. These are nice and soft, so I can feel the bend in the carrot. Close that for about 1 more minute. We're gonna let that rest for about 10 minutes, which is gonna give time for the last little bit of carryover cooking and help make sure that we don't lose all those juices when we slice into it on the cutting board. So this is where all that prep work pays us back in spades, is we're gonna get some amazing slicing without running into any of those bones. Let me show you.
James, this is my husband, Mike.
Hey, nice to meet you.
how are ya?
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for...
I guess thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Why don't you guys dig in?
You did all the hard work.
Thanks.
After you.
Good? It's really good.
Ah, it's incredible.
I'm always looking to have a meal that's a protein, a vegetable, and a starch. It's like the perfect meal that you could make on the barbecue, I think.
From a seasoning standpoint, I love that it's pretty subtle, but it's got this nice tanginess. We can have the kind of more neutral option, but also the option to, you know, zest it up a little bit.
It looks like Max likes it too.
Yeah, we got a fan. Do you feel comfortable to recreate this now any day of the week?
Yeah, I think we'll do it again tomorrow.
Amazing.
James coming here for Backyard BBQ Rescue has inspired me to stop looking at gas barbecues. Oh, I'm gonna go all in on this one. It does taste better.
Mission accomplished. So today we learned along with Jenny that amazing barbecue doesn't need to be reserved for the weekends. That's it for today. I'm James from Smoky Dad Barbecue signing off. Don't be afraid to fire it up.